Katt Williams and Aaron Rodgers. I was thinking about which one I'm going to go with first, so I figured I'd go with the one that would make me less upset. Let's start with Katt Williams. So Katt Williams was on the Club Shay Shay podcast hosted by Shannon Sharpe. And boy, oh boy, if for whatever reason you've been under a rock for the past week and you have not seen this interview, I suggest after you like, rate, subscribe, all that fun shit to this podcast, go listen to it. Sending shots to Ricky Smiley for claiming that he was supposed to be Money Mike over him. Sending shots at Kevin Hart like he's been doing for seemingly the past 5 years. Steve Harvey for telling lies on a podcast. Cedric the Entertainer. Earthquake. A lot of people. I don't really know or care enough about these celebrities to defend their character or defend their honor to y'all. I barely vouch for people I know in real life because I don't know what they're like when I'm not around them. However, I will defend Katt Williams' right to do so and air out his grievances on the podcast. Because like he said, they were on Shannon's platform talking about him. So it's only right that since he's on the mic now, he goes out there and does it himself. Speaking of Shannon's platform, now I'm a fan of the Club Shay Shay podcast and Shannon Sharpe in general. And I've seen a lot of people took issue with Shannon's interview style and didn't like the way he conducted himself with Katt Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that is how Shannon Sharpe interviews. He is going to let you go. He's not cutting you off. This isn't Nori. He's not going to jump in every 3 seconds and, yeah, give it up for God, everybody. Like, no. Shannon's letting you rock, and he's going to interject where he sees fit, for better, for worse. Now, the line between letting the other person completely take over the interview and letting your guests talk all the time is very slim. Only about 3 people ever walk that line perfectly. And silly me, I don't expect the Hall of Fame tight end to be one of those people. But the main people I see that took issue with the way Shannon conducted the interview were the Big J journalists who, quite honestly, y'all just seem jealous. Like, just very envious and jealous. And this isn't the first time that we've noticed that the journalists have spewed a little extra venom to athletes that are in media. Now, most of us don't have journalism degrees. We don't know the art of the interview y'all do and how to articulate the points and follow-up questions and where things are supposed to be placed. We may not know the intricacies of that, but we know what jealousy looks like. We know what envy looks like. We know what ill intentions look like, and that is what all y'all show. At the time I'm recording this, the Katt Williams interview for Shannon Sharpe is up to 31 million views, and a lot of y'all are very upset about it. I'm very happy that Shannon Sharpe went on Nightcap Saturday night and called y'all on it. It's like, y'all don't care about the way I interview people. This is his 100th-ish podcast. Again, I've been listening for quite a while. I've heard a majority of these podcast interviews. Nothing has changed within the way that Shannon interviews people. All that changed the attention on it. Thus is why envy is starting the show. Okay, now back to Katt Williams. So I'm not going to defend Katt's character because, again, I don't have any personal experiences with the man outside of the fact he's one of my favorite comedians ever. However, a lot of people did. The amount of smaller, quote unquote, smaller comedians that came out the woodwork and said, yeah, Katt been nothing but a stand-up guy to me. I was down on my luck. I was a just starting out comedian. Some random person gave me money and said it was on behalf of Katt Williams, or I found out Katt gave me money this way. So many stories about how great of a guy Katt Williams has been behind closed doors. My favorite of which being Boosie, when he first came out of jail, told the story about how Katt Williams gave him $15,000 when he didn't have a dime. He was living in a hotel with his family. He don't know Boosie from a can of paint. And Katt Williams was just like, Boosie home, here's $15K, just because. So you couple that with outside of the aforementioned comedians Katt shot at in the Shannon Sharpe interview, every other comedian Shannon brought up, a celebrity period, Katt didn't have the issue with. He kind of bigged up a lot of people, especially the younger comedians, who, if you're familiar with how comedians of Katt generation talk about the younger crowd, that is rare. That almost never happens. So when I couple those two things together, I don't think Katt's bitter. I don't think he's a hater. And it's not like Katt Williams is irrelevant. I hate when y'all try to do that on social media. Oh, they're just trying to get relevancy and they're trying to be a clout chaser. And nigga, he has an Emmy. He's fine. I tried to get tickets to see Katt Williams last year at Constitution Hall, and it was like a week or two before the show, all sold out. I couldn't get a ticket. So clearly he's doing okay. And it's just ultimately dismissive of the point he's trying to make. if you just don't like the fact he's talking about celebrities that you like, just say that. You don't have to just try to talk down on the man and say he's bitter. For what? But as he talks about the industry, this is one thing he brought up that I have an issue with. And it's not just a him thing. It's an all black people thing. And this is where the other people, you can skip to the Aaron Rodgers part on this one. He brought up the Illuminati a lot. And this is not the first time he's done it. He does it on stage too. And black people, I need us to let this Illuminati thing go. I need us to let it go. And it's for several reasons. First of which being, I have never heard y'all say that anybody who is not black is part of the Illuminati. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bernard Arnault are up billions, and not a once have I ever heard y'all say that they sold their soul to the devil. But Steve Harvey got a couple $100 million, and magically him and Satan got to be besties. Does that make sense to y'all? The way it comes off to me is internalized self-hatred. The thought of black people becoming super rich and successful on their own merit is so unfathomable to you that they just had to sell their soul to the devil. Also, more importantly, am I the only one who remembers how the Me Too movement started? Am I the only one who remembers where the term cancel culture came from? It wasn't because a couple comedians wanted to tell gay jokes on stage and we wouldn't allow it. No. It started because men in a position of power were using that power to exchange sexual favors from women and sometimes other men in order for them to keep their career or progress in their career. You let Katt and other people who talk about the Illuminati sell it. That's kind of the story. It's you want to progress in your career, you got to come do this sexual favor for me. I think Katt said verbatim in the Shannon Sharp interview, Harvey Weinstein tried to suck my penis 10 years ago in front of my whole agency. And that's kind of my point as to why I don't want us to keep using this Illuminati term. These people have names. Harvey Weinstein has a name. Jeffrey Epstein has a name. And those are just the people we know. And if we weren't too busy chasing ghosts, we could actually go find these people. Like, we shouldn't be chasing conspiracy. The answers are in front of us. We don't have to look very far. And if we were just unite just a little bit and start dealing with some facts of, hey, if Harvey Weinstein was comfortable enough to do this for years, he's just going to be the example because he's the most broad and most famous one, and also fuck Harvey Weinstein and everyone who thinks like him. If he so cavalierly was doing this for years unscathed, clearly he is not alone in this practice. Let's go find the rest of his cohorts. But instead, we're chasing the shadow Illuminati because, oh my God, conspiracy. Speaking of conspiracies, it actually segues me perfectly to Aaron Rodgers. And Nick Wright talked about this subject almost perfectly, and I don't want to regurgitate a lot of the things he said. But my main issue with Aaron Rodgers is, me personally, as a person that gets on a microphone pretty much daily, I not only think of the things I say, but I think of the people who will agree with the things I say. What do I mean by that? If I were to critique black women on any platform, and a bunch of these alpha male, red pill, He-Man, women hater clubs type niggas start championing my statements and me, I'm going to have to take a look in the mirror because that's not the side I want to be aligned with. I'm not with y'all. I don't share y'all line of thinking. And if that's how I'm starting to come off, I'm going to be concerned. Aaron Rodgers does not have that concern. This Jimmy Kimmel Epstein situation is the latest example. And I see a lot of those minions of his are asking, why is it such a big deal? Well, Jimmy Kimmel's a comedian. He should be able to take a joke. Calling someone a pedophile on national TV is not a joke, my nigga. That is called defamation of character. I'll read you the legal definition of defamation of character. This is straight from Forbes. Each state establishes its own definition for defamation of character. In general, however, it occurs when a false statement is made by a third party. The statement is presented as fact. The statement causes reputational damage. It can take place in two forms. False statement can be made orally, in which case you can sue for slander. And it can be made in writing, to which you can sue for libel. He said on ESPN, they just announced that Pat McAfee's show got 298 million impressions across all platforms in the month of December alone, which, shout out to Pat McAfee. That's an insane number. Let's say Aaron Rodgers is responsible for 10% of that. You're telling me that roughly 30 million people heard you say that this man is possibly a pedophile. And that's just ha ha ha, tee hee. No, bruh. To the point where the next day, people were photoshopping Jimmy Kimmel's name on the Epstein list. That's not a joke. As far as where that leaves Pat McAfee and Disney, at the time I'm recording this, it hasn't been announced whether Aaron Rodgers will be back on the Pat McAfee show or not. Hey, from the future. So Aaron Rodgers went back on Pat McAfee's show today, and if you guessed that he was going to take accountability and apologize to Jimmy Kimmel, you guessed wrong. Instead, he went the route of, the media twisted my words, and this is their plan to cancel me, and then he continued with his Alex Jones-esque rhetoric. So that was fun. Back to our regularly scheduled podcast. Because Jimmy Kimmel is a Walt Disney employee under ABC, the same way that Pat McAfee is a Walt Disney employee under ESPN. And if Pat McAfee can have people call Disney employees pedophiles on his show, and then later in the week also call out a ESPN exec for trying to sabotage a show in the same week, congratulations, Pat McAfee. You are now the most powerful person at ESPN. They suspended Stephen A. Smith for saying something about Michelle Beadle, of all people, who doesn't even work there anymore. So if Pat gets this off, oh man, salute to you. But here's where I am with Aaron Rodgers, and I need y'all to realize this. Aaron Rodgers is too far gone. Aaron Rodgers cannot be saved. Nobody has gone down this far of a path of the conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat person, and has come back the same person because of the amount of ignoring the facts and confirmation bias you have to already partake in before you get that far. All they know is doubling down, and they're going to continue to do so, especially when you're a $100 millionaire future Hall of Fame quarterback who clearly has nobody around him who's pushing back on him, like we see every week on the McAfee show. You think anyone on the Jets is pushing back on Aaron Rodgers' batshit crazy thoughts? They can't even bring themselves to fire his offensive coordinator he likes, even though he's clearly terrible. You think they want to get into vaccine arguments with this man? The owner of the Jets, Woody Johnson, is part of the family that owns Johnson & Johnson, which makes baby wipes, lotions, and vaccines. If he can't get through to him, bruh, nothing. He's gone, bruh. There's nothing we could do about this. And another part that hits home for me always is the arrogance of that way of thinking. We don't hate Aaron Rodgers simply because he is an anti-vaxxer. There's a lot of anti-vaxxers in the world. I think you're stupid for reasons I'll get to later, but this is America. You have the right to be stupid, as long as you keep your stupid to yourself and not try to make other people stupid with you. It's the fact that Aaron Rodgers presents his stupidity as fact, and because he has such a large platform, that's the way it's perceived by so many people. And the arrogance of it comes from this. Aaron Rodgers likes to go at Dr. Fauci, right? Do y'all know what Dr. Fauci's level of education is? He has a bachelor's degree pre-medicine from Holy Cross, a doctorate degree from Cornell. He did a residency at the Cornell Medical Center. That was by 1968. So that is 10 years of medical education before another 15 years of experience in this field before Aaron Rodgers was even born. And he wants y'all to believe that he knows better than him. You know how crazy that sounds? And it hits a little closer to home for me because, full transparency, I have a degree in biology. I went to school for biology. Was going to get a doctorate degree, but story for another day on that one. As well as losing multiple family members to COVID, I would get into several arguments with friends, family members, co-workers, associates, where they would bring me these videos and these articles and these websites of this just terrible information about the vaccine and the COVID virus. And along my journey of getting this bachelor's degree, part of the curriculum is learning how to identify a credible source. I didn't realize how important that skill was until the pandemic, and I realized how easy it is to get y'all to believe some bullshit. The amount of times I had to go back and tell people, no, that's not how the body works. No, that's not what mRNA is. No, that's not what that study says. That's not how that's meant to be interpreted. No, that's not how the vaccine is made. The amount of times I've had to go back and forth with people, and even still, after giving concrete evidence because they did a couple hours of a YouTube deep dive, suddenly that trumps my 4 years of a college education. In Dr. Fauci's situation, the over 50 years of experience he has in the field because you decided to go on YouTube one day. Does that make sense? And Aaron Rodgers is the final level on a video game boss battle version of this person. And he gets to go on ESPN once a week and talk to Pat McAfee about it. Do we not get how fucking dangerous this is? And I know to his legion of anti-vaxxers, this is going to go in through one ear and out the other because facts and anything that doesn't agree with you, y'all don't agree with. And I always find that funny because y'all refer to yourself as free and independent thinkers. And it's crazy to me that all you free and independent thinkers all think the goddamn same.